This is Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear. But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's going to be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 4, Episode 8, titled Frenemies. My name's Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one insert word here, co-host. From the podcast pod is my co-pilot. Please say...
I'd consider her an enemy.
I forgot to level that. Oh, wow. To Taylor the Latte Boy, hello. I forgot to make it so that volume was louder. Hey, Latte Boy, hi, how are you?
Bonjour, lady.
Bonjour, cheesecake. You are back with husband.
I am. We are back together. We have spent the day canoodling and playing Animal Crossing. Now, we canoodled the other night when you got home.
Oh, I was going to say, were you just ripping his clothes off of him when he got home?
No, actually, the first night, no, because he didn't get in till like really late. But the next night, I might have just decided, you know what? What the hell?
Have you ever
just kind of started in on him?
Have you ever surprised him where you're just like a beast in heat and you just like straddle him and ride him right there?
I've tried to before, and he doesn't normally necessarily like that because he's he needs to be not so much in control, but he needs to know like what's going on. You know, we've also talked about there have been times in which, I have been ready to, you know, down to clown, as it were, and pretty much come out of the bedroom or made some sort of...
You shot that far?
Or just to get him, and he's usually playing Nintendo, and he does the whole like, okay, hold on, I have to find a save spot.
That might kill the mood.
And it does. It does. That's why I'm sort of like, you know what? Never mind. I'm just going to take care of myself.
No, really? Have you ever?
Oh, yeah. No, where I've done that, where I'm just like, don't worry about it.
Oh,
you know?
My God. Yeah, that's how I would be.
So,
it's so funny. I've told someone who doesn't care. Like, I told Aiden today, I may say it all the time. I'm like, you have full access 24/7 to all this goodness. You know? He's coming to Palm Springs. We're going to hang out for a few days next week. And,
Excellent.
And I already told him, listen, you know, because he was telling me like, I might be getting up really early because I'm used to doing that, and I'll probably have some sort of like snack, you know, right? I like to eat something right when I get up, and I go, that's odd because right around that same time, I like my dick in someone's mouth. So that's convenient.
It's funny you'll be looking for a snack because this is a snack right here.
Yeah. And so, we'll see what happens next week. It's going to be...
Do you like that? Have you ever liked that where somebody has just kind of surprised you?
It's one of these things where when I've been... because this has happened to me multiple times, where the person is fondling me in my sleep, and it takes me a while to go like, what is going on? And then I go, oh, that's what's going on? Hi. Good morning.
I've definitely done that before. So
to Bobby Lou or to what?
Bobby Lou and others.
Oh,
Bobby Lou and others, where I was with when I was with Drum, I used to do that occasionally, the Drum, and then when Drum and I were having a three-way, and we all kind of fell asleep, I woke up in the middle of the night and just kind of started messing around with the other guy, and while Drum was asleep next to me. And just kind of thought, well, let's see what happens here. So
the most recent person that I would call a quote unquote trick. I remember when we were about to, with me, I call it get down to frown. He said, oh, but I'm not hard yet. And I go, oh, contraire. I like to start when it's not hard. I love having a flaccid penis in my mouth and making it hard. Thank you.
Okay. So like bubble gum, like Bazooka Joe bubble gum that it starts off kind of soft, but over time it gets to, and then it's just kind of hard in your mouth.
That's right, Mama. And
I had a guy once, a guy that I dated, like my first actual boyfriend, like one time, like we went to go to sleep and he like went down and like literally and went and like rested my dick in his mouth. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I want to go to sleep like this.
Oh, I would do that, but I wouldn't fall asleep though.
Well, I think he had and my first thought is, I'm like, I know I grind my teeth sometimes, so I'm not taking a chance of this guy suddenly having some sort of night terror and then chomp. So
yeah,
no.
I had a guy, another trick. I'm a magician after all, who when we finished having sex and he was like going to sleep, he's like, I can only, he grabbed my hand. We were in the spoon position. He was little spoon. He goes, I can only sleep if you do this. And he took my hand and put it on his dick, and I needed to hold his dick the whole night. But I was like, the whole time I was thinking, like, I'm holding his dick. And so I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
That's not fun to me.
Well, because then that's not, because a flaccid dick that gets hard in your hand is fun.
Yeah.
A hard dick that gets flaccid in your hand, that's not fun.
No.
That feels very like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a weird experience yesterday, and since you are a certified mental health professional, I thought I'd run it by you. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a Discord message yesterday while I was making dinner. Okay.
And
it was from a listener who said, I was listening to Afterthought Radio. Okay. And you talked about a boyfriend you had a long time ago who told you, like, you guys dated for, I don't know if I know the specifics. So we had dated for a couple years, and then he broke up with me because he said it didn't fit into his game plan to be gay. I was probably like 23, 24.
I remember that story.
Yeah. And he had never heard it before, and he wanted to know if I had any advice for him, because he had never heard it before. He's going through the exact same thing where he dated a guy who I guess wasn't gay, and the guy broke up with him because of his lack of decision or something, an ability to come out, and he's having trouble getting over it. So what advice would you give to a client who had, because he was like, well, first of all, he had easy questions like, will I ever get over this? And I go, yes, 100% you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old is this person approximately?
I don't know, 20s?
Okay. Yeah. You will get through this. You will get over him. This is just a shitty thing that's happened in your life. Accept it. And then just kind of recognize that you will feel better. It's hard to do, because I'm sure that you are grieving, as anybody who's gone through a breakup before, you kind of grieve the, what if this is the beginning of forever? Especially when you're in your 20s, because you think, okay, depending on if he is in fact in his 20s, because you kind of feel like, well, this is the beginning of my adult life. Yeah. And you've partnered with somebody, you've met with somebody that you feel as though you have that connection with, and then you end up not having a connection with that person. But I think that you have had bad experiences before. You will have bad experiences again. This is just a bad experience. And it is also where you are investing energy in someone who has or had no intention of investing an equal amount of energy into you. So recognizing your worth and recognizing that there are people out there that would kill to have you in their life. This guy's not worth it. This guy wasn't worth it.
Latte boy, as I live and breathe. How are you, girl?
Hey, Mama Joe.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I said, hey, Mama Joe. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. It's so wonderful to be here.
That's great. Anyway. This week...
Is that a new thing? Is that a thing that I need to be prepared for every week now?
I don't know. You never know with me. I'm a bag of surprises.
Should I be like Carson and when you ask the go, I'm doing great. I just got fisted by 6 guys behind the dumpster.
Yeah, you know what? That's a tip. Let's try this again. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Let me see. Here we go. As I live and breathe, if it ain't my own girlfriend, Carson Crossley's here.
Hey, Mama Joe.
How are you, honey? How are you holding up?
Well, usually I'm holding up the other guys when I'm jerking off 3 of them and they're coming on my face.
You old fool. All right.
So dumb.
Yeah, what if they said horrible things? What if they just said horrible things? Like, what if it was like, hold on, now I gotta do it. I'll just do it to myself. Oh, no.
Here, I'll introduce you.
Okay.
Well, as I live and breathe, it's Joe Betance.
Hey, Taylor, how are you?
I'm fine, sugar. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I got my test results back today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Turns out I'm having an AIDS baby.
I'm not sure why I went to Lady Buddy. Oh, you did?
All right. This week, the queens take a polygraph test to reveal what they really think about themselves, each other, and RuPaul's Iron Fist shoes. By the way, I looked up the Iron Fist shoes on eBay. You can get
horrible.
$25. Yeah, they're off.
Oh, can you really?
Yeah, $25. I'm gonna buy you some. In the Maxi Challenge, the queen... I'm gonna buy some. Can you imagine Lori walking around in, like, American flag, giant heel shoes?
I think the more important question is, can we see Lori doing that? Because that should be a video podcast.
It should be. In the Maxi Challenge, the queens must join forces with their frenemy to perform a nightclub routine. Willem and Latrice Royale are named the winners of the challenge, while Fifi O'Hara and Sharon Needles are placed in the bottom 2, forcing them to face off in a lip-sync battle for their lives. After all was said and done, RuPaul summoned Willem to the front of the stage and announced that Ru had discovered Willem had broken the rules of the competition. With that, Willem was asked to sashay away, leaving both Fifi and Sharon safe to see another day. Taylor the Latte boy, why don't you name 2 things you liked about the episode and 1 thing you did not?
Do I have to?
No.
Because, wow, not a great episode.
Yeah, not a... Would you call it a bad episode?
Yes, I would.
Wow,
I would. And here's why. One, and again, I get that I am watching this with a very different set of eyes than I was when I first watched season 4 10 years ago.
Taylor lost his eyesight about 5 years ago, and they had to put new eyeballs in there. Yeah.
And I was really mad because they put in white contact lenses and everybody thinks they're creepy and everybody told me I shouldn't have gotten them.
True.
But you know what? I did it anyway.
Mm-hmm. You sure did. And you won the title for it.
Yeah, well, it ended up working out for me. You can really see how hard the editors were working to make a story with this, of where it felt very similar to what we saw on the big fight of All Stars 1, where a lot of the facial expressions and a lot of the things that were said just didn't seem to make sense. And it felt very much of where you could even see, because like, people are sitting in different spots in various disagreements, of where it was clear they pulled things from various interviews. They pulled things from various, other conversations to make it where make it worse than I think it actually was. Because you have that moment of where, particularly Sharon and Fifi are like fighting through the whole thing, and then suddenly they're like kind of sort of getting along. Like it was just odd. So that's one thing I did not like. The other thing I did not like, I hate this song that they all have to do. It's the So Much Better Than You. It's just grating. It's not lazy. Good.
It's lazy.
It's a very, very lazy song. And the fact that they had them do it 3 times, but they all had to come up with different lyrics, but they really didn't come up with it.
Only part of it? Like there were certain lyrics they couldn't,
It felt like they edited them, like they had to come up with the whole song, but they only edited them to where they all, for time or whatever, it was just bad. The one thing that I did like until about 5 minutes before we started taping, because I was really kind of forcing myself to come up with something, was I liked the mini challenge, but now I think I don't like the mini challenge. Because the reasons that I thought I liked the mini challenge, I came up with reasons why I don't, but we'll talk about that at the mini challenge. What about you? Do you have 2 things in one thing?
They used to have a Lucian Piani album on Spotify, but it is now gone. Interesting.
Well, they had the one where they did like the Glamazonian era, like all of the Bitch Perfect and all that stuff. That's gone.
Let me see. Hold on. Maybe not. Maybe not. Hold on.
I didn't think it was called. It was by Lucian Piani. I thought it was like the cast.
It's called. Let me see here. Let me look up Eggs, because it's on there. Yeah, here it goes. Okay, here's the album. All right. Oh, there's the album. Okay. Oh, but they don't have shocking. They don't have So Much Better Than You.
But that wasn't pre-recorded because they recorded that one live. All of the ones that are on that album are ones that the girls lip sync to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, what was your question?
Did you have 2 things that you liked and 1 thing you didn't? I did 2 things I didn't like and 1 thing I did.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. So I don't know if you remember, this is a nice little history lesson for the thoughts. This question originally came, we used to do basically what was your general hot take from the episode? And I instituted the 2 things you liked and 1 thing you didn't because we were starting to the thing where everything was negative. So I wanted to at least keep it positive and then get negative later. So ultimately, I'll just give my hot take on the episode because it's not really, it's not that I have negative or positive things to say. It's just more like, look, to me, I wouldn't call it a bad episode, but it was a totally flavorless episode that borders on bad. Has moments where it flirts with being bad, but doesn't quite. I will say this, the Willem disqualification saves the episode. I think had it not been for that, it would be a completely worthless episode. I mean, it's just nothing. It's just it's air.
Yeah.
Like, we take notes when we watch these things. And as you know, because I texted you during the show, when I was watching it, that I took 0 notes during this episode. 0. I took none. Because there was nothing really interesting to talk about. So it should be a fun episode. All right. After Jiggly's elimination, Willem wasn't humbled by being in the bottom 2, and Sharon Needles wishes she had ditched the white contacts, but still believes she's still serving glamour, but with a goth twist. Next, RuPaul and the workroom announced this week's mini challenge. Each girl will answer a series of questions while strapped to a polygraph machine. The girls, one by one, sit in a chair as RuPaul asks a series of ridiculous questions. Off to the side, the administrator informs us whether the person was truthful or not. After the mini challenge, RuPaul announced this week's maxi challenge. The girls will work in pairs to create costumes, choreograph a routine, and write original lyrics to the song Better Than You and sing it live on the main stage. As it turns out, the girls are set up to stand across from their frenemy. The girls are paired off as follows. Dita Ritz and Chad Michaels, Latrice Royale and Willem, and Fifi O'Hara and Sharon Needles. All right, let's stop here. Let's talk about everything mini challenge, after Jiggly's elimination, and the pairing of the maxi challenge. Any thoughts here, Taylor?
The one thing that I really kind of thought about was that the one thing that we got a shout out to producer extraordinaire Humble Pie by Latrice Royale.
Humble Pie.
At one point he said Humble Pie, and that's the thing that made me perk up. Like, it's humble.
Yeah.
But for for the most part, that first section, it was weird to see that while Willem wasn't necessarily humble, it looked like he felt slightly vulnerable in that moment. Now, we've since learned that maybe that's not necessarily the case, as we saw by the end of the episode. But I thought that was interesting. And I thought the conversation between Sharon and Fifi as far as but can you do glam without the goth? Can you do just pure glam? I thought that was a very fair question by Fifi. You know, but again, it goes to that where the way they edited it, I think they made it look like Sharon was more offended than Sharon probably was.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more mature conversations going on with this group than we've seen with some of the other groups, some of the other girls at this stage in the game. But they are putting together, they were piecemealing pieces, particularly of Fifi occasionally rolling her eyes or making a face or that sort of thing, that I don't know that they necessarily, if it had been in one shot of Sharon saying something and Fifi rolling her eyes, that would be very different than where they just kind of pull this random clip. Yeah. So now that I'm kind of looking at it with a slightly more attentive eye, I'm just wondering how accurate a lot of the stuff is. So that's my thought on the first part.
Yeah, you've thought way more about it than I have. To me, again, like I said, it was like, all right, that was a thing. Even the moments that you thought would be worth talking about. Like, I really had my pen up pad ready during that lie detector, but the questions were so pointless and the results were so pointless that there's really nothing to even say about the mini challenge.
I would say the mini challenge was something that I thought I would like this. Yeah. I think that this could be a fun thing that they could do every season. Yeah. It could be a challenge of where they ask them questions, especially if they could ask them questions this late in a season of where there is, like, imagine if this had been between Candy and Tamisha, if they were both on this late in the season and they could do a lie detector test with them and then do things like that. The problem is this felt like a excuse to do something where they could get Sharon and Fifi on a team together. That's the only reason for this, because the other two pairings didn't seem like they necessarily didn't like each other or disrespectful of each other, anything of that sort. It just felt like this was something we know we've got something here, so let's force these two together and see what comes of it.
Well, I think that these challenges are planned way in advance, but I see what you mean. They did use it to their advantage to make to put Fifi and Sharon together. You know, Dragula did a lie detector test in season 2 late in the game, and there were some interesting revelations that came out of it because they asked some tough questions. I felt no tough questions were asked here, and so so it was just a sort of pointless mini challenge that, you're right, was just an excuse to pair off. Like, why? How do we know that Chad and Dita were opposites? Like, Willem and Latrice are clearly opposites for visual reasons, so it's funny. Maybe it's the same thing, like, they're not going to put the two black girls together and the two white people together. It's going to be like, look at this, a black person and a white person. Ha ha ha, they're opposites.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're so cutting edge.
Yeah. All right, in the workroom, the girls get to work on their numbers. In particular, Sharon and Fifi try to put their differences aside for the sake of the competition. During the table visits, Chad appreciates Dita's willingness to fail. Sharon assumes she was paired with Fifi because they hate each other. Latrice hopes to ground Willem, and Willem plans to turn Latrice into a hua. Taylor Latte Boy, your thoughts on everything that happened in the workroom during the table visits?
First of all, I love the use of the word hua. I thought that was something only I say, but thank you. Again, I think the Fifi and Sharon stuff, if what we are led to believe is true, and the whole Party City fight was sort of manufactured by the two of them, I think the both of them realized, oh, we have a chance to be the stars of this episode. So, because the arguing between them, particularly when they were trying to come up with the lyrics, did not feel dangerous. At no point did it seem like anybody was, because if anything, Sharon seemed to be wanting to work with Fifi and kind of lean into the stuff that was being said. It didn't seem like it was where I just kind of remember this episode when I watched it 10 years ago, I just remember thinking, oh, they really hate each other. And now when you watch it now, you're like, oh, this is not as dramatic as I remember it being.
Yeah. Here's what I think. I've never believed their entire story either. If I had to guess from knowing what we know now, putting all the pieces together, watching what we've seen, this is what I think. I feel the Party City fight was real. And then at some point, because one of the things we learned, and this is why Willem got in trouble and whatnot, is that these girls were freely roaming around just talking to each other, in between the hotel rooms. Is at some point, I don't know when, they made up, right? Or they buried the hatchet. Mm-hmm. And it could even be as late as this episode, but at some point they buried the hatchet. And then this episode happened, and they both saw and probably had a private conversation like, oh, the producers are trying to make us fight. So let's lean into this. You're right, because we could become the stars of the show if we lean into this and do this. But I feel this is when you see the decision made, or right around then, that they realize what the producers are doing and they're playing their hand. But I don't know if I buy. I don't know whether both of them have talked about this. I don't know if I buy the story that they had it plotted from the very beginning. The Party City fight seemed genuine, and they're not that good of actors.
I think it's where I think it got out of control. Okay. I think the Party City fight was something where it started one way, and then I think somebody hit a little too close to home, and then it turned into like an actual fight. That's my thought on that.
Yeah, it could be. I had to put a fan.
This is all conjecture, but
it's so hot in here. It is. I know you said Bobby likes to have this too, but I like to have air on me at all time.
Oh no, it is. We have an actual cold front coming through here, where the high tomorrow is only supposed to be 60, and he keeps trying to turn down this air conditioning. Where I'm like, no, we don't have to have the house set to where it's 67 degrees in here.
I don't like the air conditioning like that. I like to have actual air blowing on me.
Air blowing on you. Oh yeah, no, because it's cool in here, but sometimes the air just sits.
Oh.
And then he gets where he's, I'm hot. We gotta turn the air down. It's just too much.
Yeah. All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break right here? Okay, I have a feeling this episode's going to be shorter than usual. And when we come back, we'll discuss the rest of the episode.
This episode is supported by FX's Clipped, the scandalous story of the 2014 Clippers owner's racist remarks captured on tape and heard around the world. The series charts the tape's impact on a dysfunctional basketball organization striving to win against their reputation as the most cursed team in the league. Starring Lawrence Fishburne, Jackie Weaver, Cleopatra Coleman, and Ed O'Neill. FX's Clipped, streaming June 4th, only on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hi, I'm your inner dream monologue, and you're fast asleep, so I'll be quick. Great job using the Colgate Optic White Overnight Teeth Whitening Pen before bed. When used as directed, it gives you a visibly whiter smile in just 7 days. So while I fly and talk to animals, you're removing teeth stains with ease. Sweet dreams. And when you wake up, keep on living life to the brightest. Colgate Optic White. Find it at all major retailers.
Yeah! All right. The girls head to the main stage to rehearse with Lucian Piani. Latrice and Willem play it too nice. Dita and Chad need to work on their timing, and Fifi and Sharon let their vocals outshine the lyrics. Any thoughts on this this weird, pointless meetup with Lucian Piani, Taylor?
Yeah. Well, Lucian was very cute. Mm-hmm. Lucian, and you look at Lucian now the sort of the way that you looked at Whitney Houston towards the end, mm-hmm. Yeah. Where you just when you would watch old videos of her, where you're kind of like, oh, the potential here is gone.
Yeah.
I guess the issue that I have with it is I don't get how they're supposed to sing the song, because it feels like they were told at certain points, like they're trying to sing ahead, and he's like, no, just sit with this, like don't sing a part, sort of thing. And and then the thing where they're both singing the so much better, so much better, so much, where they're trying to sing over each other. Mm-hmm. But it sounded like for some of them, he wanted them to kind of sing over top of one another. The others, he wanted them to take their turns. And it just was a grating song that we had to listen to multiple times while they were trying to figure out the.
Well, that's why I think it's lazy, because it's in, and I think this is why they struggled, and maybe they did it on purpose. I mean, Lucian's not a stupid person, where they did it on purpose to fuck the girls up. It's in a weird key that would force you to either go, if you want to, because remember, this is a different era, where I feel if this was the same thing now, the girls would have no problem going to their lower register. Okay? You know, I think Bianca and other people since have changed. They're like, I'm just going to sing them the way a man does, you know? But at the time, they were still trying to do female illusion. So, like, you either have to go super high, or you have to lose your lower male registry. And I think it put them in this quandary. And I almost feel Lucian chose that key on purpose to do that. So, Fifi, you either have to go like, I think I'm better than you, you know, or she would have to go like, I think I'm better than you, or whatever. And, and I think that was, and also it's a weird phrasing, it's weird notes, it's very odd song, and not good.
Yeah, it's just odd phrasing is definitely a better way to say what I was trying to say. That it's just a weird song, and the whole Fifi trying to do the weird operatic thing was really annoying. But
you know, she makes weird choices when she does that stuff.
Yeah, I know. But the idea that Sharon had as far as to kind of do the heavy metal rocker thing, in theory, that sounds like a great idea. In practice, not good.
Yeah. All right. It's elimination day, and the girls get ready for the main stage. In the workroom, Willem withdraws and sticks to herself. Latrice checks in with Willem, who shrugs it off. Fifi and Sharon worry that they might actually get along now. The girls talk about missing their drag families, and Willem wishes out loud that she had a drag family of her own. Now, what's wrong?
You all right?
Yeah, what happened?
You're doing something with your eyes. Are you all right?
No, my eye. Okay, what happened was Taylor's outside of the show. I had an itch. I scratched it, and I know exactly what happened. I had this bag of spicy mango dried fruit.
Oh.
And I didn't, and then I scratched not scratched my eye, but you know what I mean? Like was taking the itch out of my eye.
Rubbed your eye?
Rubbed my eye, thank you. And then it put the spicy mango thing in my eye. And so then my eye started watering. So that's what Taylor saw. Was me going,
okay.
I'm reading this, and Taylor sees me like, look at
no, I know out. In the last year you've had a Bell's palsy. So I just wanted to make sure you were okay.
Yeah.
And this last 45 seconds was more interesting than that entire episode. But okay, go ahead.
You know what? You're right. So, like, here's something interesting is, so, you know, I'm part of that Sound Up Latinx thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, I got a huge box. Yeah, I did. And it...
How is Lori?
She's great. Never had any complaints. And, actually, she's gotten a lot of complaints.
I think that if anybody gets complaints out here, it's Lori.
Yeah. But inside were two very large boxes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And a book bag, which is right here, actually. And everything is branded with the Spotify Latinx logo. And I got this huge book bag.
Very cool.
Full of tech stuff, right? I'm going to a story here, a self-effacing story. So before everyone thinks my head's getting big, I'm going to a self-effacing story. So this book bag is full of amazing, amazing tech products. Thank you, Spotify. Okay. Then I got a big box over here. I'm not going to go get it. It's huge. Full of like sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a hat that I gave to my dad. Kind of wear hats. A throw blanket, all branded with the Spotify Latinx. Where is it actually? A brass... Actually, where really is it? A brass water bottle kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
I don't know where it went. It's around here somewhere. And there was that box. Then there was another box full of snacks. Latinx snacks, right? So I'm with my parents, like, oh, what's in this huge box? I'm like, I don't know. Let's open it. And I pull out the bag, and there's all kinds of amazing things in this book bag, right? Mm-hmm. And I pull out the other box, and there's a sweatshirt and a throw blanket. And here I am. Their son has been chosen by this big company who just sent him all these gifts, right?
Yeah.
They could not care less. And they were more excited about the snacks. And I go, oh, they're like, well, what snacks? And I go, well, here's a thing of chocolate. And then they start fighting with each other who's going to get the chocolate and the spicy mango. And what else do I have in here? Oh, here's the brass water thing. Oh, and there's pens. There's pens. Sound up like here's some sort of brass water thing.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Can you send that to me? I like that.
No. And I will say, whoever gave me the snacks did a good job, because I like the spicy mango so much. I bought like $30 worth, and they're being sent to me. And some really good like Colombian chocolate, and I bought that too, and that's coming to me. And but there's these chips, right? The chips are okay, you know. And then, oh, look at this cool candle. And then
very pretty. What does it smell like?
Okay, I don't know if you'll be able to relate, but Bobby will be able to relate. It smells like a really packed salsa club.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, and like with Cubans with open shirts and gold necklaces all dancing way too close to each other and salsa dancing is what you would smell when you're on the floor. Yeah. It's very musky with cologne. Speaking of, I know that, do you still have your coffee butt scrub?
No, because it expires after 60 days. You're supposed to throw it away after 60 days.
She's not going to throw it away. I'm going to still use it. What's the worst that could happen?
I don't want him to get food poisoning from my butt.
Oh, that would be such a great story, though.
Would it?
Yeah, for me at least. Well, I'm going to find out because I'm taking it with me to Palm Springs. And I'm
Good for you.
Yeah. The coffee scrub for your butt, so you threw it away. How much of it did you use? Or you only used that one time?
I only used it like 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, they give you too much. You need I want a hair gel size. That's all I need. And actually, they make another product that's probably better. Because they sent you too those free wipes.
Yeah. Yes,
that's
they did.
Probably more useful.
I haven't used those yet. I have like, Mom's Fun Box, like under my side of the bed. Mm-hmm. And I might have used it while Bobby Lou was gone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what are these? I'm like, oh God, I forgot about these. But I just sort of figured I would save those for another time.
Well, that's for people who have like sex in clubs. That's really what it's for. You keep it in your pocket like, this guy wants to have sex with me. Let me wipe my fucking junk so it doesn't smell like fucking bonch, Yeah.
Bonch.
90s term.
So anyway, can I say my joke? I thought of a joke and then we went off talking about my butt and, food poisoning and that kind of stuff. Is you were talking about your parents were fighting over the snacks, but ultimately, do you know who gets the best snack?
Who?
Aiden next week when he sees you. It's a callback to the beginning.
Oh, sorry, wrong thing. There's a whole song of that. I'd have to find it, but there's a whole song. They actually have a whole song. I downloaded it. I will say, I love that song. I don't play it nearly enough anymore. All right, Elimination Day. Do you have anything to say about it?
Well, from what we have heard about Willem's elimination.
Oh, yeah. What did he say about it on his show?
Well, okay, so, and I did some research because I couldn't necessarily remember what it was, but it was that Willem had been notified prior to being disqualified that she was going to be disqualified. Apparently she was notified at lunch.
Okay.
So she was aware of it because she thought she was going to be going home early and this was just going to be a vehicle for some, publicity. And that she did not see herself as an actual contestant because according to her, they requested that she bring in a tape. She didn't necessarily audition. They just said, put in a tape and then you'll be fast track through. And she made it sound like they wanted her to be the villain. And she thought, well, I'll do this for a couple of weeks. And then I have a musical on like off Broadway or something that I'm supposed to be a part of that I need to get to rehearsals for. And as it got closer and closer to the time that she needed to go, she said that she was acting out more and breaking rules, particularly outside of the, actual production, but was rocking the boat more and more until she said they had no choice but to get rid of her because she was not, according to her, she was not the only one that was breaking rules. And the examples that I read today on Reddit were, for example, that Fifi had a phone, allegedly, with her, and that Kenya used to smoke pot all the time. Kenya was like high a lot.
Well, I think on the interview with us, Dita said that she and, was it Willem or Jiggly, would go out and get I don't know if they would go out and get food or they would go to clubs or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Dita talked about it. On Twitter, actually.
So, but they were she was looking to give them a reason to get rid of her so that she could go to this.
Do you buy it?
Ultimately, she did something. They never said what it was on the show. And according to her, the story that she tells on the reunion was made up between her and the producers because they did not want to, she was very big on making sure that all the girls got fed properly and like put up a fight as far as, making sure they all had enough time, that kind of thing. And they did not want her saying anything on the reunion that would embarrass RuPaul and make it look like RuPaul was not like steering the ship.
Then why are her eyes red in some of the confessionals at the end?
That is the one thing where at the confessional, one of the last confessionals they show of her, I did notice that too. She was clearly crying.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I feel the truth is somewhere in the middle.
It could very well be.
All right, on the main stage, the Frenemies debut their nightclub numbers. Latrice and Willem are named the winners of the challenge. Just as RuPaul prepares to announce the bottom two, Willem rushes off the stage to throw up. Oh, why did she throw up?
She said because after she was told that she was going to be disqualified, they went to lunch, or it was right before lunch that they told her, and she overate and then got in that really tight corset. So it made her sick.
Okay.
And then there was also the nerves of she knew this was coming and just felt really gross, and that's why she threw up.
All right. After checking in with Willem, Ru places Fifi O'Hara and Sharon Needles in the bottom two, forcing them to duke it out in a lip-sync battle for their lives. The song, It's Raining Men, the sequel by Martha Wash and RuPaul. After the lip-sync, RuPaul summons Willem to the front of the stage. Ru reveals Willem has broken the rules and thus disqualified from the competition. Taylor Latte Boy, any final thoughts on the episode?
I will say this, to the best of my knowledge, is really the only time that we see Sharon lip syncing. And I was pretty impressed with her. I thought that she did a really, really good job, especially compared to Fifi, who was horrible.
Yeah, Fifi would have gone home. Fifi would have 100% gone home. Yeah. She was very, very good. And
between the not wearing shoes and then her wig falling off, and she clearly didn't know the words, and it was just chaos.
Yeah, it really was. Fifi was lucky that Willem broke the rules. What did you think of the nightclub numbers? I felt that they were pretty much where the judges thought they were.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought that of the three, I thought Latrice and Willem did the best. I thought that Chad and Dita were two very different energies, where Dita, they were good, but Dita was a little all over the place.
Yeah.
And then you had where it felt like Sharon and Fifi were on two completely different stages.
Yeah, 100%. Any other final thoughts on the episode? Any notes you didn't get to say? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to mention? Leave it all right here on the dance floor.
I think we're just going to leave it all right here. We didn't really talk about the looks, but there wasn't really anything to talk about with the looks.
No, they didn't have a runway. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each and every episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 4. So for Taylor the Latte Boy and myself,
sashay away until next week.
Thank you for listening to RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. You can also leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. Follow us on Twitter at Drag Race Recap. For more access to LGBTQ content, support us over at Patreon at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can follow Taylor the Latte Boy on Twitter and Instagram at PIMCTaylor. Follow Joe Betance on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Betance. This episode was produced by Zach Birch. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Greedy corporate mega stores, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a law in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, tell your lawmakers, hands off my rewards. Tell them to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill.